What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we'll be hunting a full $25 box of bank wrapped pennies. I can't remember which bank I picked these up from, but I know I opened the box while I was there and saw we had a nice box of circulated pennies. So today we'll be hoping to strike it rich with some pocket change. I've got those to look through. I've got my own little search list. We've got our scale to make sure we find those copper pennies. We got our cup to store them. We got our microscope to look for errors and varieties, and we are ready to go. So let's jump into it. So let's go ahead and crack into this first roll together. I'm actually going to weigh it here and see if we can figure out how much copper we've got in here. Now, I have a document in the description down below that includes my little checklist for pennies that I typically look for in there, as well as a nice chart that'll tell you based on the weight of the roll, give or take how many copper pennies you should find. I don't have that actual chart out handy, but at 132.6 grams, it's a whole bunch of copper, probably somewhere on the order of about 10, because a typical zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams and a copper penny weighs 3.1 grams. And with a roll of pennies weighing in at about 120, I think it's 126 grams with the paper on it, to get to 132, it means you've got a whole lot of copper to make up for that extra weight in the roll. Now, going through this, I'm not going to hunt for varieties real quick on this first time through. I may push a few coins aside. I will check those off camera. But here we've got a 1976D, which is copper. Let's see here. The Strike It Rich book is a great book. I do have a link to the Amazon, or my Amazon affiliate link in the description down below this video for that particular book, and I have found it to be very helpful because it's full of all kinds of great pictures, and it's better than just having a search list. Here we've got a really blingin' 1981 copper penny, so we'll definitely hang on to that. That's like a 1969. That might have a no FG on it. Here's a 76. Now, we're also hoping to find some wheat pennies, which those start, I believe, in 1958. Here's a 63D copper. We're going to check that one for a DDO, a 92. We'll check for the close AM on that one. Let's see here. 1944. What is that? Is that an S? That is an S. We have a 1944 S wheat penny and roll number 1. And if you follow my penny hunts, you'll know that's a pretty rare thing. I don't get a lot of wheat pennies in my boxes. I average somewhere now probably around 5 or 6 per box. So to find a wheat penny in the first roll, that's pretty exciting because it could mean we've got a lot of good things to come. So I'm going to have to go back through that. 97 was something I'd want to put under the scope. For the double ear, nothing there. 1970, I can't remember if that's got something. I don't think it does. The 70S does. There's a 95 we want to look at under the scope. Now here's a large date. Where'd it go? Large date 82. Looks really nice. Let me make sure that's a large date. No, that's a small date 82. Now that one, we want to find it in copper, because if you can find a large date 82, that one's a little bit more rare, and it is copper, so we're going to hang on to that. We want the small date Denver copper. That one is the one that's really, really valuable. Let's see here. There's a 93. All right, the rest of that we don't care too much about. I'm going to scope all that stuff. We'll put all of our copper aside, and then we will keep going through this thing, and I'll bring you in as we find interesting things. But let's see. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I wasn't too far off on the copper weight. 11 pennies at 132.6 grams. All right, hopefully I will see you soon and often with lots of wheat penny finds. So we've made our way into roll number 11. The copper has been really good so far in this box, but I'm bringing you in because, like roll number 1, roll number 11 has produced us a 1958 Denver wheat penny. So I got roll 14 out, just got it unwrapped and laid out, and this guy, I usually just kind of push him aside, and this little guy poked out at me straight away, upside down here. We've got ourselves a really nice looking 1935 wheat penny, and this one's an oldie. I did, when I saw it, I went ahead and checked my book of all of the coins I need in the volume 1 book. I do not need the 1935, but this one is likely an upgrade. So I'm bringing you in here on roll number 18, and I've already got a coin under the scope. It's kind of a weird one. 1987D does have a couple of different repunch mint marks. Here you can see that 87. Let me turn this light off here. This just looks really weird. It looks like it's been manipulated. Like maybe somebody has gone in and tried to weld another D in or something, but this just looks really, really strange because we've actually got a channel here where the D would normally be. So, I mean, I'm going to guess this is some sort of manipulation or post-mint damage, but I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. I've compared this to every other kind of D over D or other type of mint variety and can't match it to anything, but I'll put this aside. It just looks really weird and I think manipulated, like it might have been welded on or something. Welded's probably not the right word, but you guys get my point. Anyway, we'll get back to the hunt. So same roll as that last wonky 1987 Denver, and we've come across our next wheat penny. This is going to be 4 on the box with only 18 rolls in, which is ahead of pace for us here in the metro Atlanta area. So 1957 Denver for the board. We're up here on roll number 20. Quick peek at the copper. Doing really, really well. So a lot of really heavy rolls in like the 130s to 134s, a lot of them. But bringing you in for our first foreign of the hunt, we've got a Canadian penny of some sort here, 1981. Now, I don't recall the years for most Canadian pennies, but they're anywhere typically from like 95 to 98% copper. Now, at this age range, maybe it is zinc, but I'll check that out and throw something on the screen for you. All right, well, we're getting into roll number 26 right here. First 25 rolls are done. We've got a ton of copper in those first, really the first half of the box, but I'm bringing you in because as I was laying it out to go through it, I did come across one penny reverse facing. I saw that wheat stalk, so we know we've got a wheat penny, and it's actually in pretty good shape. Let's check it out. Now, we've got ourselves a 1955, and for those of you that don't know, the 1955 double die obverse is probably one of the more famous penny errors that's out there, so we're going to put it under the scope, see if we have one. If we do, you might hear a little bit of screaming and yelling, but let's see here. We do not. This is a plain old 1955. Now, if you're wondering why I said there'd be some yelling and screaming, well, a 1955 double die obverse in XF40 condition graded is worth about $1,800. So if you have any penny that you have your eye out for, it's this one. Well, not this one, but the 1955 that has very heavy doubling here in the date. I'll put a picture of it on the screen so you know what you're looking for. So we're all the way up here on roll number 31, and we've got our next wheat penny find. Came up obverse facing upside down here. We've got a 1958 Denver. That one's in actually pretty good shape. All right, well, we're getting into roll number 33, and I figured I'd open this one live because we've actually got copper enders on both ends. It looks like we've got a 1970-something there and definitely a 1970-something there. And I know it's a little off camera, but we're at 133.1 grams, which means we've got a lot of copper in here. So I just thought to spice things up a little bit. Let's open it up and pull the copper out together, and hopefully we'll find some wheat pennies in here while we're at it. You can see the color. We got lots of copper or very brown older pennies. But if we go through quick, there's a 73. And I will go back through these looking for varieties and errors. There's a 1980. There is a 63D. We definitely want to scope that. A 72D. Most of these coppers have been getting scoped because there's usually some kind of DDO or DDR on a lot of them. There's a 76D. There's a 75. There's a 78. Just the copper ones. Once you get into this, you can almost tell just by looking at them. Now, that doesn't mean you're always going to get it right because you'll get some old zinc pennies. Not that one, but they'll kind of tone and look coppery. But copper just has a specific look to it. That's a 1980. So we got lots of copper in here. Just so far, no wheaties. That's a 2000 something. That's going to be an 82 that will likely be copper. I'll weigh it. That's a 74. And that is a 74S, it looks like. It is, in fact, a 74S. So let's see. In that roll, 133 grams. It's got to be 11 or so, maybe 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10. 12 coppers in one roll. All right, well, I'll go through them. Again, just constantly hunting for our DDOs and DDRs and haven't found anything yet. All of our coppers going over on the left side of the mat. All my stunners and fines are up here. So anyway, hopefully we'll find something interesting to look at here very shortly. So we're up here on roll number 34, and we've come across our next wheat penny. We've got ourselves a 1942. Little ring ding over there. Decent looking coin. We'll put it up on the board as a find. So we're into roll number 35, and we have found something we don't find a ton of, but we got a really decent looking 2009 Philadelphia penny. Now, for those of you that don't know, it does have 4 commemorative reverses on this one, so a lot of people do hang on to all of their 2009. So they had 4 designs. The early childhood, this is the formative years. They did a professional life and a capital dome. Now, most of the ones I find don't look this nice, and on top of that, for those, again, that don't know, there are a ton of double die reverses on this particular penny, and we found one today, and it's actually one I've never found before. You got to get a close-up here of, of Lincoln's hand, and I normally find the extra thumb, so you actually see a little bit of raised metal in here where there's an extra thumb. This is actually the extra middle finger right here. You can see underneath his little book, there is a raised part right here. That is actually the double die reverse, and it's meant to be kind of this little part of his middle finger just showing up underneath. Now, if I bring you over here to Variety Vista, which I already have pulled up, this is the 2009 Formative Years DDR 011, and I'll zoom in here for you. You can see right here, there's that little extra piece of metal, and it does in fact say medium spread south as an extra middle finger. So this is one, keep an eye out for it. If I can find a value for this on eBay, I'll go ahead and put it on the screen, but a pretty cool find in the pennies. We're up on roll number 37, and we've come across our next wheat penny. Looks like it could be an old one. I haven't looked at it yet. It is reverse facing. We got a 1941, and there is a DDO for this, and I'm not exactly sure where it would be, but most likely on the date and the word liberty, or in the "In God We Trust." So not seeing anything, but we'll put it up here with the rest of our wheat pennies, and so far we're doing pretty good in this hunt, better than we normally do. All right, we're getting down here to the end. We are on roll number 46. And we come across our next wheat penny. We came up this way, upside down there. 1956 Denver. Definitely a brown one, in fairly decent shape. I believe the 56, let's see here, there is a D over shadow D. Let's have a look. I am not seeing it, so we're just going to throw it up here with the rest of our 50s. I'll figure out where it goes here in just a minute. Into roll number 47, and we've got another wheat penny. So this is officially one of the best boxes I've had for wheat pennies in a good long while. I think this is number 10 or 11. Let's see what we got. We've got ourselves a 1945 Philly. I'll put it over here next to the 40s, and again, we'll figure out where it goes in a minute. Well, we are really getting down to it now. Roll number 49, and we've got our next wheat penny. And I did look ahead. We had 258 Denvers. This will be our first 58 Philly on the hunt. There's the whole coin. And the 58 does have a DDO. Let's just check for common markers here real quick. So nothing there in the date. Not really seeing anything there in the year or in the Liberty. And I'm not seeing anything in trust. Okay, well, we have reached the end of the box, and we have a whole bunch of stuff here on the mat. This isn't going to be the full wrap-up. I just wanted to give you an idea of where we stand. So that's all the copper from the first half of the box. This is all the copper and how it laid out from roll number, I guess it's roll 13 through roll 25. And you can see we had a couple of really, really big ones and only a couple of small ones. We did have a couple of finds that were interesting, so we'll go through those in the wrap-up. We did have more wheat pennies than we've ever had before, or not before, but probably in the last 6 months of hunting pennies. These are all kind of red or stunner copper coins that I'm going to check my albums for upgrades, and everything down the side here is something I'm going to check my books for an upgrade. So let me go see what we're going to keep, see what we're tossing back. We will do a wrap-up on the wheat pennies, our actual potential numismatic finds, and then a final weight on the copper and a value. So let me get through it, and I'll be back in just a second. All right, well, it's a lot less pennies now that I've sorted through it, and before we get to it, I did want to show you guys the copper cup. So this is anything 1982 and earlier, and remember, those 82s need to be checked to make sure that they're not the zinc version of the 92. I'm actually going to put that over here. We'll explain that in a second. I got a couple of nice ones in there. But anyway, this is a pretty big cup of copper here. One of the bigger cups than I've had in a long, long time. You can see there we've got 2 pounds, about 13 ounces. Now, with that extra penny in there and all the stuff that's up here on the table that's copper, I'm closer to 2 pounds 14, maybe 2 pounds 15 ounces. So we've got, at 2 pounds and 14 ounces, we've got $10.41 worth of copper in that cup, which I think is pretty darn good. I got that over from Coin Apps. I'll put that image up on the screen so you can see how that works out based on today's copper price. But real quick, to go through the finds, we'll go through our wheat pennies. And as I said earlier in the video, this is the most number of wheat pennies we found in a long time. But we had a 35, a 41, a 42, a 44S, 45. You know, this 55, one of these days I'm going to find that double die and make a whole bunch of money, but just not in this hunt. We did end up with a 56 Denver, a 57 Denver, and I think we had 2 58 Denvers and 1 Philly. So that is a lot of wheat pennies for one of my boxes. Lately, I've only been finding 4 to 6, so that's quite good. This 35 maybe is an upgrade. Everything else I checked in my books, not so much. So moving over here, we did have 1 Canadian penny, the 1981. We did have this 1 DDR, that DDR number 11, and it's actually in really, really great shape. I looked on eBay for an exact comp and couldn't find one. There were other DDRs in a different place on the hand that were going for $7 or $8 a piece. This is the kind of thing that I probably would, if I were to put it on eBay, probably put $4 or $5 on it and see if I could get that. But you can see we still have cartwheel on this coin. It is a really, really nice example of a DDR. And I brought you guys in for this 1987. There is a repunch mint mark on this guy, and we just looked really, really funny, like that D had been monkeyed with. So I'm going to keep that aside. I'm not sure it's worth anything, especially considering the condition of the coin. But it was different. It was odd, so I put it aside. Now, I do have upgrades for my book. I have a 72S and 1998. Those are going to be upgrades in my book. I did pull aside. I found 3 examples of the commemorative years of the Lincoln Penny, 2009. We had that formative years, which we've already talked about. There's the early childhood. Here's the Capitol Dome. I didn't find any of the professional life, but it's basically Lincoln standing next to the Capitol. And I just didn't find one of those. None of these are nice enough for me to keep, but I wanted to pull them aside so you guys could see what they look like. Now, all of my kind of red and BU copper, none of this is going to upgrade my books, but I actually roll this separately. So I have rolls in my collection or in my stash that say BU copper or red copper, and then I just have rolls that say copper. So that's how I separate it if you guys were curious. And I do that for a couple of reasons. One, the red stuff, if I were to go back through it and happen to find something I missed, the red's going to sell for a little bit more. And I think later on, as pennies get more and more valuable, as they start probably disappearing, if money were to ever go away, I want to make sure I can easily get to the nice red ones over the brown ones. I did have some comments based on my last penny video about do I pull 2017 Ps, because it's one of the few years where they actually put the Philadelphia mint mark on it. I found more than this. These were kind of the nicer ones that I found, but just wanted to show that I typically don't pull them, but I do get a lot of them. Let's see here. What is left to talk about up here? We talked about our upgrades. And these are also going to be upgrades as well for my book. This 2015D is an upgrade. I did find a 2017 Philly in Denver. The Denver's not even all that nice, but the one I have is really, really bad. And same for the 2018 D. And I'm sure I've seen nicer ones. I just forget I need them. So by the time I remember, I've usually missed some better specimens. But those are all upgrades for the book. So let me go ahead and get those punched down. We'll take a quick look at the state of the books, and we'll call it a video. All right, well, here we go really, really quickly. My 1909 to 1940 book is really hurting. I struggle to find my older wheat pennies here in the metro Atlanta area. I have lots and lots of room for growth here in this book. I maybe have about 10 or 11 coins in that book altogether. Now, my 41 to 74 is pretty much getting wrapped up here, and I do have some really, really nice BU specimens from 59 all the way to 74S. And that 72S that I just replaced was practically a brown one, so that was a nice upgrade for me. I mean, as we get back in the earlier wheat pennies and in the steel penny, you know, we've got some work to do there, but it's coming along nicely. The 75 to 2013 book is complete. There are a handful of upgrades that I'm still looking for, like the 77D, if you can see that. We've got some brown ones here. Again, most of the time I just forget to look for them because they're more modern pennies, but this book is complete. Again, with a lot of really, really nice red ones in here. Just, you know, not as many red ones as I would like. And then the 2014 book is all full except for the 2014D. And again, it's not that I don't find them. It's just I find really, really cruddy ones. So I haven't even bothered to put one in there yet. But we are all caught up to the 2023D. And we'll be on the lookout for the 2024 pennies when they come out. Hopefully you saw that on camera. But this one's completely done except for that 2014D. So with that, I had a great time in this hunt. I do like hunting pennies. They just take me so very long. I've been working on this video for about 4 days in between work and kids' activities, but I am having a lot of fun doing it. It's just it does take me a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know. Drop on down below this video. Click on that like button and leave me a comment. And if you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, make sure you click on that subscribe button and then click that little bell and select all to get notified each and every time I do release a new video. Special shout out to all my channel members. Really appreciate you guys supporting the channel each and every month. And I don't know what's going to come out first, but I'm doing a little members giveaway for a silver quarter that's only going to be available for those members because they do donate every month, and it's time I start giving back to them a little bit very specifically. So again, thank you guys for supporting the channel. With that said, I'm hoping to pick up some $50 this Friday, so we'll get at least one more hunt out before the end of the weekend. And with that, I hope you guys are doing well, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.